Welcome, dear soul. I am truly grateful that you are here with me tonight. You did not arrive by accident. You found this quiet place because some part of you is ready to rest, to loosen its grip, and to simply be. As you listen to my voice, know that nothing is expected from you. You do not need to understand anything. You do not need to fix anything. Just being here is already enough. Before we begin, I gently invite you to stay with this video until the very end. Let it play softly as you rest, even if sleep comes quickly. And if this space brings you calm, I warmly invite you to subscribe to this channel so you can return whenever your heart needs stillness again. There is no urgency, only an open door. Now, allow your body to settle. If you are lying down, feel the surface beneath you supporting your weight without effort. If you are sitting, let your shoulders soften and your spine rest naturally. I take a slow breath in and I let it go. You may follow me if you wish, or you may simply listen. There is no right way to do this. As I breathe, I notice how the air enters without asking permission and leaves without leaving a trace. Nothing needs to be controlled. Nothing needs to be held. Tonight, I choose to rest inside this simple rhythm. In and out. Each breath gently loosens the knots I have been carrying all day. Perhaps for much longer than a day. I imagine myself placing everything I've been holding into an invisible bowl in front of me. Thoughts, worries, plans, memories. I do not push them away, and I do not judge them. I simply set them down, one by one. Even the thought of sleep itself can rest here. There is no hurry to fall asleep. Sleep arrives best when it is not chased in the quiet. I remember something I once forgot. I do not need to arrive anywhere tonight. I am already here. The world can continue without my attention for a while. Messages can wait. Problems can pause. Tomorrow can remain unopened, like a letter still sealed. As my body grows heavier, my mind is allowed to grow lighter. I feel my forehead soften. My jaw releases. My tongue rests gently in my mouth. Even the small muscles around my eyes are invited to let go. I am not doing this perfectly, and that is exactly why it works. If thoughts appear, and they will lie, let them pass like distant lanterns floating down a river at night. I do not follow them. I do not push them away. I watch them drift until the darkness quietly absorbs them. Each time I return to this moment, I am practicing something ancient and kind. I remind myself that I am safe right now. In this moment, there is nothing I need to defend against. The night is not an enemy. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of rest, full of space, full of gentle permission to stop trying. I listen not only to my breath, but to the pauses between breaths. In those pauses, there's a deep stillness that has always been waiting for me. It does not rush me. It does not demand anything. It simply welcomes me back, again and again. Tonight, I allow my cup to be empty, empty of needing to know, empty of needing to be more, empty of the idea that I must carry everything alone. In this emptiness, there is room for peace to enter naturally, without effort. If my mind wanders, I smile softly and return. If my body shifts, I allow it. Nothing here is a mistake. This is not a performance. This is a return to something simple and true. As the night deepens, I feel myself being held by the quiet. I do not need to stay alert. I do not need to stay awake. I can rest inside this voice, inside this moment, knowing that it is enough, and so I stay here a little longer, breathing, listening, letting go, ready to continue this gentle journey together. As I sit quietly in this moment, a memory comes to me, a story that has stayed with me for a long time, returning whenever my mind feels too full. I share it now, not as a lesson to be learned, but as something to be experienced slowly, like watching steam rise from a warm cup in the night. I once went to see a teacher carrying many thoughts with me. I did not notice how heavy they were at first. I believed they were questions, curiosities, wisdom I had collected along the way. But as I sat across from the teacher, I felt a quiet tension inside me, as if I was holding my breath without realizing it. The teacher welcomed me without many words. We sat together in silence, and after a while, he began to prepare tea. I watched his movements, hurried, precise, yet completely natural. He placed a cup in front of me and began to pour. The tea filled the cup slowly. At first, I watched the surface rise, smooth and dark. But the teacher did not stop. The tea reached the edge, then spilled over, flowing onto the table, dripping quietly onto the floor. I felt uneasy. Part of me wanted to speak, to interrupt, to say something obvious. The cup is full, I thought. Can't he see? Finally, I could no longer hold it in. The cup is already full, I said gently. There is no more room. The teacher looked at me then, his eyes calm, almost kind. He stopped pouring and set the teapot down. After a long pause, he said, "You are like this cup." I did not respond. I felt something shift inside me, though I could not yet name it. "You come to me," he continued, "full of your ideas, your knowledge, your expectations. How can I offer you anything new if there is no space to receive it?" At first, I felt resistance. I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to explain that my questions were sincere, that my seeking was real. But as the silence returned, something softened. I saw myself more clearly, not as someone empty and open, but as someone carefully packed with beliefs, fears, and conclusions. In that moment, it was weight. I realized how often I move through life like that cup ready filled before anything has a chance to enter. I listen while preparing my reply. I rest while planning tomorrow. I search for peace while holding tightly to noise. The teacher did not ask me to throw anything away. He did not say my thoughts were wrong or useless. He only showed me the simple truth. What is already full cannot receive. As I sit here now, remembering this story, I feel how gently it speaks to the night. Sleep, too, cannot arrive in a crowded mind. Calm cannot settle where everything is clenched. Like that cup, I must allow myself to be empty, not broken, not lacking, just open. I imagine my own cup before me now. I see it filled with expectations, with a need to understand, with the habit of control. One by one, I allow these things to dissolve, not by force, but by kindness. I do not pour them out violently. I simply stop adding more. The beauty of the empty cup is not in its emptiness alone, but in its readiness. An empty cup is useful. It is alive with possibility. It waits without impatience, without demand. As the story settles inside me, I no longer feel the need to grasp it. I let it rest like tea cooling in the quiet. There is nothing more to add, nothing to take away. Tonight, I let myself be like that cup, open, simple, and at peace with not needing to be full. As the night grows quieter, more stories begin to surface within me. They are small, almost weightless, yet each one leaves a gentle imprint, like a pebble dropped into still water. I do not tell these stories to teach myself anything new. I tell them so my mind can slowly loosen, one thread at a time. I remember a time when I was walking with a monk along a narrow mountain path. The wind moved through the trees without effort, and the ground beneath our feet was uneven. I asked him how he remained so calm, even when the path was uncertain. He stopped, picked up a leaf, and let it fall from his hand. The leaf drifted, turned, and finally rested on the earth. He said nothing. As we continued walking, I realized the leaf had answered me. It did not resist the wind. It did not choose its landing. It simply fell, and that was enough. Another story returns to me now, quieter than the last. I once watched a young student ask an old master how to quiet the mind. The master pointed to a nearby pond and asked the student to stir the water with a stick. The surface rippled, becoming cloudy and restless. Then the master took the stick away and they sat in silence. Slowly, the water cleared on its own. The master smiled and said, "This is how the mind becomes still." I think of this often when my thoughts feel loud. I remember that stillness is not something I create. It arrives when I stop stirring. There was also a traveler I once met who complained endlessly about the weight of his bag. He said it was filled with valuable items he might need someday. When he asked for advice, a teacher suggested he open the bag. Inside were stones he had collected from every place he had visited, each one carried just in case. The traveler laughed, embarrassed, and began placing the stones on the ground. With each stone released, his steps grew lighter. I notice how easily I recognize myself in this story. How often I carry yesterday's stones into tonight. I recall a moment when I sat beside a river with another seeker. He asked me where the river was going. I watched the water move around rocks, bending without hesitation. "It is going where it is," I said, without thinking. The seeker looked surprised, as if the answer unsettled him. Later, I understood why. We often want a destination, a promise of arrival. But the river taught me that movement itself can be enough. Once, I asked a teacher what enlightenment felt like. He handed me a broom and asked me to sweep the courtyard. Confused, I did as I was told. When I finished, he asked me again. I said I didn't know. He nodded and said, "Good. Sweep again." At the time, I felt disappointed. Now, remembering it in the quiet of night, I feel something else relief. Perhaps I do not need to feel anything special. Perhaps being here is already complete. There was a story of a bell that would not ring clearly. A monk struck it again and again, frustrated by the dull sound. An older monk listened and said softly, "The bell is not broken. Your striking is." When the younger monk finally slowed his movement and struck gently, the sound rang pure and full. I think about how often I strike my own mind too hard, demanding peace instead of inviting it. I remember seeing a cat sleeping in the sun while a group of students argued nearby about the nature of truth. Their voices rose and fell, each one certain they were right. The cat stretched, yawned, and fell back asleep. Later, a teacher pointed to the cat and said, "That is truth, too." I smiled then, and I smile now, knowing how much effort I waste trying to grasp what already rests beside me. Another small story drifts in. A monk was asked why he smiled so often. He replied, "Because I have stopped arguing with what is." That answer follows me like a soft echo. Tonight, I practice not arguing. The night is here. My breath is here. That is enough. There was once a student who complained that meditation made him more aware of his restless thoughts. The teacher said, Before, the room was noisy, and you did not notice. Now you hear clearly. The student frowned, but I felt comforted by this story. Awareness is not the problem. Awareness is the doorway. I remember a cracked cup used daily by a humble teacher. When asked why he did not replace it, the teacher said, "It holds tea just fine." I look at my own imperfections more gently after remembering this. I do not need to be flawless to be useful. I do not need to be whole to rest. One night, I watched a candle flicker in a drafty room. I worried it might go out. An older voice beside me said, "If it does, darkness will not be harmed, Tia." I felt my shoulders drop. Even endings are not enemies. Another story arrives, almost like a whisper. A monk was asked, "What happens after death?" He replied, "What happens before birth?" The questioner fell silent. So do I. Some things do not need answers to be peaceful. As these small stories pass through me, I do not try to hold them. I let them come and I let them go. Each one empties me a little more. Like water slowly leaving a vessel under the warmth of the sun. I feel my thoughts growing wider, less sharp. The edges soften. The need to understand fades into a gentle curiosity, and then even that dissolves in this quiet flow of stories. I find myself growing still without effort. My cup feels lighter now, closer to empty, not lacking, but ready. And in this readiness, I allow sleep to draw nearer, step by quiet step, without being called, as I rest deeper into the night. My thoughts naturally turn toward the teachings that have quietly shaped the way I see life. I do not think of them as rules or beliefs I must follow. I feel them more like gentle reminders that return when I am ready to listen. In this stillness, they speak softly, without urgency. I reflect on impermanence first. Everything changes, not as a threat, but as a promise. The breath I take now is not the same breath I release. The moment I am in has already begun to move on. When I truly allow this truth to settle, something inside me relaxes. I no longer need to hold tightly to what feels good, nor fear what feels difficult. Both are already passing. I notice how much of my tension comes from forgetting this. I cling to moments, to people, to ideas of how things should remain. And when they shift, as they always do, not because of the change itself, but because I asked something temporary to behave as if it were permanent. Seeing this clearly does not make me cold or distant. It makes me kinder. I love more gently now, knowing that nothing is owned, nothing is guaranteed, and that this very fragility makes each moment precious. Another teaching rises within me. Suffering is born from attachment, not from love, not from care, but from grasping. I feel the difference in my body. Love feels open, warm, spacious. Grasping feels tight, anxious, afraid of loss. Tonight, I allow myself to notice where I am holding too tightly. I do not scold myself for it. I simply see it, and in seeing, the grip begins to soften on its own. I remember that desire itself is not the enemy. Wanting comfort, connection, meaning, these are human. What brings pain is the belief that I cannot be whole without these things behaving exactly as I wish. When I let go of that belief, desire becomes lighter. It can move through me without trapping me. I think about the teaching of the middle way. Not excess, not denial, balance. I have spent parts of my life swinging between extremes, trying too hard, then giving up completely, clinging, then pushing away. The middle way feels different. It feels like walking steadily, without drama, without punishment, just one step, then another dot. In this moment, the middle way looks like allowing myself to rest without guilt. I do not need to earn this rest. I do not need to justify it. The body grows tired because that is its nature. The mind becomes noisy because it has been active. Letting them settle is not weakness, it is wisdom. I gently turn toward the idea of non-self, and I feel its quiet freedom. I am not fixed. I am not a solid thing that must be defended at all costs. I am a process, a flow of sensations, thoughts, emotions, all rising and fading. When I stop trying to protect an imagined permanent me, life feels less threatening. Criticism hurts less. Praise feels less intoxicating. I become lighter, more flexible. I see how often I label my experiences good, bad, success, failure, and how these labels harden my world. When I drop them, even briefly, experience becomes simpler. Sensation is just sensation. Thought is just thought. I do not need to turn everything into a story about myself. Mindfulness returns to me, here, quietly, not as effortful attention, but as gentle presence. I am aware of my breath without controlling it. I am aware of my body without judging it. I am aware of my thoughts without chasing them. This awareness does not strain. It rests. I understand now that mindfulness is not about being calm all the time. It is about being honest about what is here without adding resistance. Calmness often follows, but it is not forced. It blooms naturally when the ground is clear. Compassion begins with this honesty. When I see my own restlessness without judgment, I begin to see others differently too. I realize that much of what people do comes from confusion, fear, and unmet longing, just like me. This understanding softens my heart. I do not need to excuse harmful behavior to release hatred. I can protect myself while still seeing clearly. I remember that compassion also includes myself. This is easy to forget. I speak to myself harshly in ways I would never speak to another. Tonight, I practice a different voice. A voice that says, "You are allowed to be human. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to not have answers." In this quiet acceptance, I understand something simple and profound. Life does not ask me to solve it tonight. It asks me to rest inside it. And so I do, gently, letting the wisdom fade into the background as sleep draws closer. Like a calm shore, waiting without calling, I stay with this quiet moment, letting everything slow even more. There is nowhere I need to go. Nothing I need to become. I remind myself of this again and again, not because I forget, but because repetition itself is soothing, like waves returning to the shore. The same truth can arrive many times without growing old. I am breathing in, I am breathing out. Nothing else is required. Each breath knows what to do. I do not guide it. I do not correct it. I simply allow it. The body remembers how to rest long before the mind does. I let the body lead now. I let the breath be the teacher. I tell myself gently, it is safe to slow down. I tell myself again, it is safe to slow down. And once more, quietly, it is safe. With every exhale, I imagine releasing a small weight. I do not name the weight. I do not analyze it. I just let it go, over and over. A little less effort, a little less holding. I notice how the night does not rush. The darkness does not hurry me. The silence does not demand attention. Everything around me is patient. I allow myself to match that patience. I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to pause. I am allowed to be unfinished. I repeat these words slowly inside myself, like a lullaby without melody. I do not try to believe them strongly. I let them sink in naturally. At their own pace, my shoulders soften, my jaw loosens, my hands no longer need to grip anything. If a thought appears, I notice it kindly. I do not follow it. I do not push it away. I let it pass the way a cloud passes across the moon. The moon does not chase the cloud. The moon does not resist it. The moon simply remains. I remind myself I can remain. Breathing in, I arrive. Breathing out, I release. Again and again and again. There is a quiet wisdom in simplicity. I do not need complicated answers tonight. Simple presence is enough. Simple awareness is enough. Simple rest is enough. I repeat softly, this moment is complete. I repeat it again. This moment is complete. Nothing is missing. Even if something feels missing, I allow that too. Even restlessness is allowed. Even wakefulness is allowed. When I stop fighting what is here begins to soften. I am not behind. I am not late. I am not failing. These words return gently, not as arguments, but as reassurance. I do not debate them. I let them sit quietly beside me. The breath continues. The heart continues. Life continues. Even while I rest, I notice the space between thoughts growing wider. In those spaces, there is no problem to solve. Just openness. Just quiet. Just being. I tell myself, I do not need to carry the whole world tonight. I tell myself again, I do not need to carry it. The world can carry itself for a while. Plans loosen their grip. Memories lose their sharp edges. Even my sense of self feels lighter, less solid. I am here, but I am not heavy. Breathing in, I feel the coolness. Breathing out, I feel warmth spread gently. Gently, I allow this rhythm to continue without counting. Counting is no longer needed. Effort is no longer needed. The body knows how to drift. I whisper inwardly, let go, not as a command, but as permission. Let go, just a little, and again. Let go, and again. If my mind wanders, I welcome it back kindly. There is no frustration, no disappointment. Returning is part of the practice. Returning is success. I return to the breath. I return to the body. I return to this quiet place. Nothing here is dangerous. Nothing here is urgent. Nothing here is asking me to prove anything. Allow myself to be ordinary, to be simple, to be quiet. There is a deep peace in not needing to be special. I feel the surface beneath me holding me effortlessly. I do not need to hold myself up. Gravity is doing the work. The earth is supporting me without question. I repeat slowly, I am supported. I repeat again, I am supported. Even now, the night continues its gentle work. Sounds fade, or they blend into the background. Either way is fine. Everything belongs. I let my breathing become softer, not because I force it, but because there is less to resist, less to manage, less to worry about. I remind myself, sleep does not need to be invited loudly. It arrives quietly when the door is left open. So I leave the door open. I stop, standing guard. I rest again. I return to these simple truths. Breathing in, I am here. Breathing out, I am at ease. Here, at ease. Here, at ease. Each repetition smooths the path a little more. Each return makes the ground softer. I am no longer trying to arrive somewhere else. This is enough. I allow my thoughts to grow slower. I allow my awareness to become wider. I allow myself to fade gently into this moment. Without fear, nothing needs my attention. Right now, nothing needs my response. Nothing needs my effort. I repeat these words until they no longer feel like words, but like a feeling. A feeling of permission. A feeling of rest. And in this gentle repetition, I let myself drift, trusting that whatever comes next will arrive naturally, without being pushed, without being pulled, just like the next breath, quietly appearing on its own. The night feels wider now, as if space itself has opened gently around me. I do not rush into any thought. I let images rise slowly, like mist over still water. There is no sharpness here, only softness, only ease. I imagine myself walking along a quiet path just before dawn. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and leaves. Each step is slow, unhurried. The ground supports me without effort. I am not trying to reach a destination. I am simply moving, and even that feels optional. The path leads me to a small valley where a temple rests among trees. It is old, but not tired. Time has touched it kindly. The stones are smooth from countless footsteps, from countless pauses. I sit on the steps for a moment, feeling the calm that seems to live here naturally. No one speaks. No one needs to. A bell hangs nearby, unmoving. It does not ring, and that is perfect. Even silence has weight here, but it is a gentle weight, like a blanket laid carefully over the shoulders. I breathe, and the valley breathes with me. As I sit, a story unfolds without words. It is not something I watch, it is something I am inside. I feel the way monks once moved through this space, slowly, attentively, without hurry. Each movement was complete in itself. Each pause was enough. I stand and walk again, following a narrow trail behind the temple. It leads toward a river. The sound of water grows gradually, never loud, never demanding. When I reach the riverbank, I stop. The river moves steadily, reflecting the pale light of the sky. I watch leaves float on its surface. They do not struggle. They do not question the current. They simply travel, moment by moment, without concern for where they will end. I imagine placing one of my thoughts onto a leaf. It rests there briefly, then drifts away. Another thought follows, and another. I do not choose which ones appear. I only watch them leave. Soon, the river carries nothing that belongs to me. I sit by the water and let time loosen. There is no need to measure it. The river does not count seconds. The sky does not track minutes. Everything moves according to its own quiet rhythm. As the scene deepens, the colors soften. The edges blur slightly, like a painting left in gentle rain. Nothing needs to be sharply defined. Nothing needs to be clear. I feel myself growing lighter, as if my body is no longer a boundary, but a presence within the landscape. The sound of the river becomes part of my breathing. The cool air becomes part of my skin. Another image forms slowly. I am now walking through a forest at night. The trees stand tall and calm, their branches swaying faintly. Moonlight filters through leaves, creating patterns on the ground. I move without fear. The forest recognizes me. Somewhere nearby, an owl calls once, then falls silent. The silence that follows is deep and welcoming. I feel no need to fill it. I walk until I reach a clearing where the ground slopes gently upward. At the top, there is an open field. The sky stretches endlessly above it, filled with stars. They do not flicker impatiently. They simply are. I lie down in the grass and look up. The stars feel close, not distant. They do not ask questions. They do not give answers. They shine without intention. I rest beneath them, letting their quiet presence settle into me. A thought arises, soft and brief. Even the stars do not try to be anything else. That thought fades, and I return to watching, breathing, being. The field grows quieter. Even the idea of watching dissolves. There is only openness now, only gentle awareness without direction. Another story flows in without words. I see a single candle in a dark room. It burns steadily, not fighting the darkness, not trying to push it away. The light and the dark coexist peacefully. When the candle eventually fades, the darkness remains unharmed. I understand this without thinking. Rest does not need to defeat wakefulness. Sleep does not need to conquer the mind. They arrive when resistance ends. The candle image softens and disappears. I feel myself drifting, as if carried on warm water. There is no edge to hold on to, no shore I must reach. The floating itself is enough. The world feels farther away now. Sounds grow distant, like echoes remembered rather than heard. My body feels heavier and lighter, at the same time heavy with comfort, light with release. If any image remains, it is faint and kind. Perhaps a path fading into mist. Perhaps a quiet doorway left open. Perhaps nothing at all. I do not try to hold on to any of it. I allow myself to sink into this gentle space, where stories no longer need words, where imagination becomes rest, and where even awareness begins to soften its grip. The night holds me. The silence holds me. Nothing asks me to return, and so I drift quietly, naturally, allowing sleep to come closer without calling it, without naming it, letting it find me the way darkness finds the sky. Without effort, without sound, I remain here quietly as everything continues to soften. There is nothing left to imagine, nothing left to follow. The journey has already brought me where I need to be. I do not need to hold the night open any longer. It knows how to take care of itself. I sense a gentle protection settling around me, not as a barrier, but as a presence, like being wrapped in warmth that asks nothing in return. I remind myself that while I rest, nothing important is being missed. The world continues in its own rhythm, and I am allowed to step out of it for a while. I feel safe in this moment. I feel held. I feel at ease if my awareness lingers. It lingers softly. If it fades naturally. Either way, it's fine. There is no wrong ending to this night. My body knows exactly how deep to rest. My mind knows how much to release. I offer myself a quiet blessing, simple and sincere. May my sleep be gentle. May my dreams be kind or absent altogether. May my body restore itself without effort. May my mind rest in silence, untouched by worry. I imagine the space around me becoming calm and clear, like still water under moonlight. Nothing disturbs it. Nothing enters without permission. Only what is peaceful is allowed to remain. Any lingering thoughts are allowed to dissolve now. They do not need to finish their sentences. They do not need to reach conclusions. They can fade mid-breath, mid-idea, mid-memory, and nothing is lost. I trust this fading. I let go of the need to listen. I let go of the need to follow words. Even my attention is free to rest. If sound remains, it is distant and harmless. If silence deepens, it is welcoming. Everything that surrounds me is neutral, gentle, and safe. I remind myself one last time, quietly, tonight I am protected by rest itself. Nothing urgent can reach me here. Nothing unresolved needs my attention now. Morning can wait. I feel myself drifting lower, like settling into a familiar place I have visited many times before. There is no edge to cross, no moment to mark. Sleep does not arrive suddenly. It unfolds, and as it unfolds, I no longer need to stay with it. My breath continues on its own. My body relaxes on its own. The night carries me. The rest of the way, I allow everything to dim, gently, peacefully, until even these words are no longer needed, until there is only rest, quiet, and the deep, kind darkness of sleep holding me all the way through.